Hello everyone, today I'm going to be checking out Highland Noodles in Milpitas, which specializes in their Chinese style hand-pulled noodles. They have many different noodle dishes, including a lot of different types of noodle soups, which I'm really looking forward to because today is another cold day, so let's go. I made it here to Highland Noodle and I placed my order. I got a ton of different noodle dishes, but I want to start off with a cold appetizer first. This potato salad looks beautiful. It's cut perfectly thin and it's covered in almost like a spicy chili oil, and it smells a bit vinegary as well. That potato salad is so nice. I've never had anything like that before. The potatoes are blanched, I believe, so they still retain their crunchiness, almost as if they're raw. So it's a really refreshing texture, but then the flavor is so wonderful. It tastes like a homemade chili oil, really nice and spicy, but not too overwhelming. And then you just get a hint of vinegar for a little bit of acidity, but it's not too overwhelming either. This is a really tasty dish. It's time to get on with our hot food now. These are their Lonzo hand-pulled noodles with beef in it, and this just looks amazing. I smell all the richness of the broth. It definitely smells like they're using a bone broth. First of all, we must taste the broth, and it looks like it's topped with a little bit of green onions as well as plenty of cilantro. This is a delicious broth. It's really light. It's not overly rich since it's a bone broth. It just has this intense meaty flavor, but also a really nice aromatic notes from all the cilantro and green onion in here. It's so nice and it will really warm you up. Our soup was topped with a little bit of chili oil, so I just decided to mix that in as well. And now I want to get a taste of these noodles. They look perfectly freshly made and super bouncy. Oh yeah, those noodles are perfect. You can really tell that they're hand-pulled and hand-stretched because the more they hand-pull it and stretch the noodles, the more bouncy and chewy it gets. It's ultra bouncy. It's just like biting into a trampoline. It's so fun to eat, and I love the flavor of the noodles because even though they're really chewy, they absorb so much flavor of the broth, and all that chili oil really clings to it. But again, it's not overly spicy. It just really complements the flavor of the broth, and there's really nothing better than getting a bite of noodles and then getting a little bit of broth afterwards. Now I also want to get a taste of the beef that's in here as well. It's cut really thin. Oh, the beef is really nice. It almost melts in your mouth because it's just paper thin. And I like, for the most part, it's pretty lean beef, so it has a really rich beefy flavor, but then you do get little tiny bits of fat in there that really adds that extra flavor. Now I'm going to be trying out their hand-pulled soup noodles that comes with ground pork and is topped with eggplant, and these also look really tasty. The way it works is they're really soupy noodles with a lot of sauce on it, so you mix it up. And then they give you a little bit of broth on the side to add to the noodles as it cools down because they tend to stick, and the broth is going to help loosen it up. But right now they're still piping hot and fresh. So let's just get a bite of this with all the sauce and gloriness covering the noodles. This is ultra flavorful. It's just like an umami bomb. I love how the sauce is really rich and thick and heavy, so it coats every single one of the noodles as well as all of your taste buds. It's just got such a rich, earthy, intense flavor from all the soy that's in there. It's a little bit sweet as well, and again, I love those chewy noodles so much. There's also little pieces of ground pork for a little bit of extra meatiness and extra flavor, and I love the juicy, tender pieces of eggplant as well. Now I'm going to be moving on to their braised pork belly knife cut noodles. So these are a little bit different than the hand-pulled noodles earlier, so I'm curious because these are a bit thinner for sure. These knife cut noodles are really nice. They have the same bouncy, chewy texture as the hand-pulled noodles earlier, but they're much thinner, so they're a bit easier to eat in a way, and they also really cling to the flavor as well. And this I'm really impressed by. It almost reminds me of like a char siu sauce in the bottom. It just has that really iconic barbecue pork flavor, and it is really nice and moist, so the noodles really get all that flavor, and I really love the intense sweetness of this one. But now I want to try some of the pork belly, and I'm guessing it's just going to taste like char siu, especially since it's been marinated. Wow, the braised pork in here is incredible. It tastes like it's been marinated for hours, so I really get all the notes from even the spices that are part of that marinade, and it's so ridiculously tender, and I love the large amount of fat in here that always comes with pork belly, but it's so melty and rich and indulgent. Next, I'm going to be trying out their chili oil wontons, one of my favorite Chinese dishes of all time. They're just dripping in chili oil, and it looks like one delicious bite. This one has definitely got a bite to it. It's the spiciest dish I've tried so far, probably from all the chili oil, but I also love that they add a nice paste to it. It tastes like it's some sort of sesame paste because it adds a really nutty flavor. And it just adds this extra dimension because it almost has the texture of a gravy, and it's really smooth, so I love that addition as well. Now I'm going to be trying out their beef rolls. This is a green onion pancake filled with a huge amount of beef, as well as tons of cilantro and green onions. So I'm looking forward to this one because I love myself a good beef roll, and I love green onion pancakes. And it looks like they do a really good job with their green onion pancakes here. Ooh, they nailed it. Their beef rolls are incredible. The really key ingredients are the pancake and the sauce, in my opinion. The green onion pancake is ultra thin and really nice and crispy and light. It's not heavy or doughy at all. And then the sauce they put on there is really sweet and sticky, and it just almost tastes like caramelized, and it really has so much flavor, which really elevates the beef, which is cut perfectly thin. And then you really got that crunch and nice flavor and fragrance from all the green onions as well as the cilantro in here. This is a must. Next, I'm going to be trying out their beef and onion steamed dumplings. Oh, they do a beautiful job with their dumplings here as well. I love the wrapper. It really does remind me of the flavor of those hand-pulled noodles. It's really nice and chewy, and it's got a really perfect texture. And then the inside filling, I love the beef. It is so juicy and really rich in flavor. It tastes like they use a little bit of Chinese wine in the marinade to make that filling, and I think that really elevates this because it's so nice and fragrant and delicious. Finally, I'm going to be trying out their pork and mushroom bao buns, and these look like perfect little white pillows of goodness, and I want to see what's inside because I love mushrooms. This is awesome as well. Just a really soft, fluffy pillow-like texture of the bun. It's really nice and airy, and then the inside is just mushroom paradise. It's just full of juicy shiitake mushrooms, and I love the flavor. If you like mushrooms, you're gonna love this one. We finally made it to dessert, and I'm really happy because they gave us a complimentary dessert. I think it's because I ordered so much food, but they gave us a huge cup of the white fungus sweet soup. The white fungus sweet soup is a really popular soup that's usually eaten around Chinese New Year, and it uses the cousins of the wood ear fungus, which is that black Chinese fungus. So it uses the white fungus, which tends to be more expensive, and supposedly the soup is also good for your stomach digestion, especially after a large meal. So maybe that's also why they gave it to me. But let's just go for a taste of this. I'm really curious because I've never heard of anything like this before. This is a really pleasant light soup to eat. It's not super rich in flavor. It just has a very light sweetness. It's not overly sweet, but it's just overall very refreshing, and it just slides down so easy. But now I'm gonna get another taste of this because it looks like there's a lot of broth, and it seems to be a bit on the slimy side. You know, the more I taste it, it has a flavor of pears, which I know are common in this soup. It just has a hint of white pear flavor, and it's really light, and I just love this. It has a very nice thick texture, so it is a bit slimy, but in a very pleasant way. It just really feels nice after a large meal, and I could definitely drink some more of this because it's not rich at all. Right after trying that white fungus soup, they also brought out another complimentary dessert for me, and they said it's because I was making a video, so I really appreciate their hospitality. But this is their Candied Hawthorne, which is a very popular dessert in China. It's just a mixture of hawthorn fruits that are covered in a sugar coating, and it looks really nice and crunchy. Oh, this is an awesome dessert. I love it. The hawthorn just tastes like strawberries, and it's nice and chilled. I think it was just to set the sugar, but it's really refreshing in the way as well. And then the sugar shell on the outside is so thick and crunchy, and they also put some sesame seeds on top for some nuttiness. This is a must-try dessert. If you're thinking about getting dessert here, you gotta try their Candied Hawthorne. It's so tasty. Overall, this was an incredible meal I had here at Highland Noodles. I really enjoyed all of their dishes, but some of my favorites were those two types of hand-pulled noodles I got. I love those Lonzo hand-pulled noodles with all the beef soup in there and the chili oil on top. That was definitely a favorite. I also really enjoyed those hand-pulled noodles topped with the ground pork and eggplant. That was a really rich and flavorful dish, and to be honest, you really can't go wrong with anything here. You can't go wrong with any noodle dish, but I also love those beef rolls as well as that potato salad at the beginning. They have so much delicious food here. Anyways, I really hope you all enjoyed the video. Make sure if you did, give it a like, and also make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.